Hey, what's up, guys? Shane here from the GnG Elite DBS team, and I'm here with Marcus and our new member, Danny. And today we're going to talk about the new ban list that everyone's talking about because it just hit, and ban cards are fun. And then we'll probably talk about organized play for the season, Ohio, the event that just passed, and the future events for the season. Since Bandai kind of changed the structure a little bit last minute on us by making the preliminary invites stay for both seasons instead of just one.
Right. So when it comes to band cards, the first one we can go over is Battering Laser.
Bruh,
Oh
I'm so
yeah.
glad that card's gone.
Yeah, it was one of those cards that felt like there was basically nothing you could do about it unless you also played Battering. And most of the time, like in the situations where Battering was relevant, you didn't have the option to also play Battering.
Like, and battering was also just kind of like one of the main components to almost every absurd strike.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Like if you look
Like,
back at Storm format, most of the games were ending due to Mira, Champa plus Battering.
even like Shenron Gogeta was playing battering, so that way if you top decked into like the Time Magic or something or the Mufuba, they could just bat.
Yep.
Yeah. I was pretty happy to see it go. It's one of the happier cards on the ban list, in my opinion.
Yep, it's. I'm definitely not surprised to see it go. I'm happy to see it go, and it has a counterpart in minus Killy Zone that was also hit, and we'll talk about that one next. A lot of people are mixed on this card because it doesn't directly look powerful, but the problem I think that this card had, aside from the fact that it's going to stifle several cards in the coming set, is the fact that it was a splashable, uh, completely undercosted, self-replacing, zero punishment for playing it in your deck style of card. You know, you could just put it in your deck because you could, and there was no deck building restrictions really outside of a few leaders. And it's not like, this kind of card, if you're in a spot where you don't need it, you can just play it, draw a card, and there, it's out of your hand, right? And if you look at the cards that it was intended to counter, they all cost energy and they require you to interact with your opponent. And interacting with those cards, like if let's say your opponent's holding up a cold bloodlust and you play a threat and they don't bloodlust it, then you don't have to commit anything else. And then they still have that bloodlust in their hand, just rotting, essentially. But that doesn't happen with a card like minus Killy Zone.
I think minus Killing Zone would have been fine if it had cost an energy and not drawn a card. It's
Oh, for
just
sure.
it feels so bad when you like have the answer to the Height of Mastery play for Victory Strike. And in my opinion, this whole ban list feels like it was hitting the Victory Strike deck more so than any other deck without trying to actually kill it.
Right.
Um, and just playing three of that card with how much that deck normally draws and being able to go, okay, well, you might have the Muay Taito or the Crusher Ball, but that doesn't matter anymore. So just felt bad,
Right.
especially considering actually like at the event in Ohio, I played the Muay Taitos in the main deck, as you guys know. And when he saw the minus Killy zone, I was like, man, this is awesome. I should have listened to you guys. But it still felt fine game one. It was just game two when he put in the Killy zones. It was an awful feeling to have
Yep.
that happen
All of a
late
sudden, it was
game.
just a worthless 5K combo that didn't do anything.
Yeah, and on the flip side of things, when you're playing into certain decks, when you just can go all out without any repercussions, maybe they took a turn and they just played, maybe one card to leave up like three energy so they can try and outplay you, and you just go minus Killy zone and kill them. It doesn't feel good to have that happen to you either. So
Correct. It's in the same spectrum of Battering Laser where it removes counterplay because like people take it from the perspective that this and battering were the kind of effects that let you interact with your opponent, right? But really, it's denying interaction from your opponent because, like for example, with Cold Bloodlust in this card, if you're going to Bloodlust a threat, that's your interaction with their card that they're playing, right? That's a one-for-one interaction. They play something, you respond. But when they play this preemptively, it doesn't even give you the opportunity to interact.
yeah,
So the way I feel about it, and like I acknowledge my opinion on this is like very short-sighted, or I'm not even really thinking about the future. I'm perfectly okay with them hitting Killy Zone only because they also hit Bloodlust.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
with the fact that Bloodlust or Achilles Zone is gone, they couldn't have a one energy essentially kill spell because the way Bloodlust is like costed, you can use it at so many different stages of the game. So effectively, it will usually essentially just kill the thing that you've negated because it loses its effectiveness almost entirely. Sure, you can still combo with it, still attack with it, but like the fact that Bloodlust would negate a card for the whole turn, and then it couldn't even gain double strike off of a card like Champa, it was Bloodlust without Battering Laser or Killie Zone in the format would be oppressive.
Oh yeah, it's not. That's not even a question. Blood, like,
Like,
Sea Light
had
decks are just
they
taking.
only hit Killing Zone and left Bloodlust at 4, oh my god, no, that would have been really frustrating.
I agree. I mean, there was a time when Bloodlust was the format before Killie Zone was released when we had to play against GnG Veggies. And it was really obnoxious to have to deal with them being able to play their threats without spending energy because of Shugesh, and then them also able to stop every threat that you threw at them, unless it had
No, it was
deflect.
totally fair.
Thank
That deck
God I
was
didn't
fair.
play in that format. I'm so
Bro, that
happy I
format
skipped
was
it.
great. You should have played it.
Speaking of Shugesh, the third ban card is, well, no, none other than Shugesh.
Thank God.
It was one of those cards where they tried to fix it with Cronoa, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference if you're not main decking Cronoa, and you still have to see it before they play the Shugesh. And in
Well, and
best
the
of
way that they've
one,
made decks function now, you can't really waste a turn 1 on a Chrono.
right, some decks can, but most decks cannot, and you can't waste a deck space on it either. With so many different cards you need between your main deck and your side deck. I mean, and it's the kind of card where like you could play a one of and blow people out because of it, and you're not gonna side in a Cronoa for somebody's one of Shugesh, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's just a kind of overly pushed, powerful effect that has no place in the game. So I'm glad to see that they banned it.
It also makes teams a little bit better, like healthier over format.
Yeah, I agree. You don't get to go and kill people on your 25-minute turn 2 playing Shugesh Veggies.
Man, that makes me sad though.
They did limit one card, and that was Cold Bloodlust, as we just mentioned with the Achilles Zone discussion. I mean, I'm a little sad to see it happen because it goes in one of my favorite decks, but at the same time, I totally understand it. It's just like, for what it does and how it's costed, it's actually almost too powerful.
Yeah, I think because like a snowball effect of this, you're gonna see a lot more green leaders and a lot more preemptive strike.
Right. Well, and to top it off, if you look at the way they've designed every other counterplay, just about aside from like the Kai, every other counterplay I believe is costed 2 or more.
Yeah, and I think 2 is probably the best answer for it, right? Because leaving 1 up, a lot of decks can do that and be fine on their tempo plays. But leaving 2 up means you have to play a little suboptimally for the most part.
Or like you
Especially,
have to utilize your awakening to do it, and that's
yeah,
also like one of those things where you're trading off a more powerful turn of tapping out to hold up your 2 energy counterplay, and it creates a greater depth of interaction between the two players, I think.
yeah, and I think that's
Bandai,
healthy.
Bandai's realization of like these counterplay cards and they cost 2 is really similar to like Wizards realizing that counter spells need to cost 3.
Right, correct.
Now we just need to go into a little bit of a slower format, and I think we'll be in a pretty healthy game state overall. Not that I don't think it's healthy now, but if they had put
I'm
Victory Strike
okay
on
with like
here.
a turn 4, turn 5 format as long as it's not obnoxiously degenerate.
So
I'm on the fence on that one, man. I won't lie.
I think a turn 4, turn 5 format is kind of okay with the density of turns in Dragon Ball. If you look at some matches you play, you could have both players get to turn 5 in a best of 3, playing 3 full games, and it take the full 60 minutes.
People also just play slow.
Right, and that's fair, but still, you look at how many different things go on during each turn, it kind of makes sense, and so 4 to 5 turns is about right. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes it goes shorter, but an average of like 5 turns before the game is over, I think is about correct.
Yeah, I think an unfortunate side effect, if you want the games to last more than 5 turns, is a switch to best of 1, and I'm not all for that.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
either.
me either.
Something to note, they actually did a Rada card too, and I didn't realize this was a thing, but The promo Paragus that comes in the anniversary box says cards in your opponent's in your battle area can't be placed in their owner's drop areas by your skills, and they eroded it to specifically say by your leader card's skills.
Yeah, Bandai just not really paying attention to what they put on their cards.
Well, I
I
mean,
won't
and it
lie.
actually might have been fine to not be leader's card skills. That might have been intended, but there might be a interaction that they missed with something they're releasing or have released that made it
Yeah,
a
it's a
broken
set 7
circumstance.
extra card in.
Yeah, so like it was just one of those things, an oversight with a card they're releasing.
I didn't even know this card was a thing. I won't even lie.
Well,
Before I read the errata today.
you know, Green
Yep, neither
Broly
did
isn't
I.
really a thing, so
Yeah, not yet.
not yet. You're
Not
right.
not this green Broly, Shane. Not this
No,
green
that's
Broly.
the green Broly that's going to be hype in set 7, but
Did y'all want to talk about any cards specifically out of the new set?
let's talk about how amazing Broly is.
All right, well, let me pull them. Actually, I can pull them up.
I don't even
I-
know what any of the sets said.
I haven't really read any of the news set. I'm not gonna lie.
Neither have I. All I know is that Wish is freaking broken.
I don't think it's broken, but I like it. I
That card's
totally.
going to get banned, guaranteed.
I don't know why they thought that it was okay to ban Child's Wish and then make a card that's a little bit more powerful. It didn't make that much sense to me, but that's whatever. Does that card actually like? It's not worse than Child's Wish, right? Like, I'm
Well,
not
it
wrong
does
in
only
thinking
grab
that.
2 drops.
All right. So, well, first let's talk about this Broly.
Okay.
Obviously, your deck has to be mono green, so that means no overwhelm, nothing like that, no splash colors, just all green cards. You pay 4, you choose a Broly's ring in your battle area, put it in your drop, and you play it from your hand. So the green Broly deck already has a very easy way of finding Broly's ring, so that's not a problem. And 4 mana for a 35,000 power battle card is pretty powerful. But then let's just look at the skill. When you play it, choose a green Broly card from your hand with energy cost of 7 or less and play it. So what does that let it give us access to? The SR from set 6, and that card's actually pretty good. And the 6-drop Broly from set 1. And the 7-drop and this card both give us access to playing the Secret Rare Broly.
I think it's only the 7 drop.
Well, Secret Rare Broly says a 7 cost or greater, I believe. But regardless, so he plays the 7-drop, so you have a 35k guy, and you'll have another big, beefy Broly.
Yeah.
And it says when it's placed in your drop area from your hand by a skill, if your leader card is Broly, choose 1 Broly's ring from your deck, activate it, then shuffle your deck. If you do, choose 1 or 2 cards from your life and add them to your hand. So you can discard it with the Broly. So you can play 4 of this card, no problem. It doubles as a tutor for Broly's ring, and as well as Self-Awakening for the deck. So this card's actually going to make the green Broly deck a lot more consistent. Whether or not it's good is to be decided, but definitely more
And it lets you
consistent.
put yourself to 1 so you can play the secret rare.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
So
Which
I mean,
is unfortunate because a lot of like kill conditions against the green Broly is putting them to where they're at 2.
right.
And then they're kind of just screwed unless they play that
Well, I'm gonna
That,
start with my crit going.
card that gets
Now,
the-
screw you.
So it'll be
I'm gonna
interesting to
play
see.
my Caulifla.
I think from what I've looked at from the Series 7, I like the cards. I don't think there's anything too inherently broken aside maybe that wish that we were discussing.
I'll pull that one up now.
I'm
Assemble
pretty
the squad.
excited to see.
No busted.
So assembling the squad, it's essentially supposed to be like a fixed Child's Wish in the fact that you can't recur the same card from your drop area infinitely, but it also increases the consistency of combo-based decks revolving around 2 cost or less battle cards, because it gives you essentially 8 copies of that card. It also lets you play a more toolbox-style strategy, potentially, if there's cards you're needing to find out of your deck at any one point in time.
Yeah.
But it definitely has a lot of potential for degeneracy.
Yeah, and I'm sure someone's gonna find a way to break it. There's what a lot of companies like Bandai kind of don't get is that most people in America, we enjoy breaking formats, which is from Yu-Gi-Oh 2. Everyone just likes making a super crazy powerful deck.
Yep.
Now, what they don't understand is that we're not here for honor. We're here for money.
Well, the prizing isn't always for money. So,
Well,
as we know from the top 8 in Ohio, there was
that's
no
when
money
you
in
were in
that.
the scrub event.
True.
You were in the kiddie pool.
There's
But
actually
I like this card.
there's actually a card I'm super excited about that I think is actually going to be very powerful.
What is it?
And it's an odd card for me to be excited about, but it's the 2-drop Broly. That's red green.
The demonic origins.
Yes, I believe so. Yes, that card. So this is our first instance of a red or dual color card that can come into play untapped. So this increases the consistency of your red-green strategies on top
Yeah, I
of
don't think
being
that's okay.
on top of being a generic discard effect with no conditional side effects. So it's a 2-drop for 15 that makes your opponent discard a card. You can play this card off of Assemble the Squad because it's a 2-drop with 15k power. You can also play it off of Familial Bonds because it's a red Saiyan.
Yeah.
And you can just play this thing off for 2 energy. I mean, it's a discard 1, But the biggest thing is that I think in any green-red deck that's playing dual-colored energies, they're going to slot 4 of this card in their deck because it's a dual-colored card that comes into play untapped.
Is that good enough, though? Do you think?
If in those decks, yes. Turn 1, you'll probably
I guess
play
if
a
you're looking
tapped
at
energy.
yeah.
Yeah, turn 1, you're probably playing a tapped red-green card, and then from every turn after that, you can play this card untapped. And
So
that by
that's
itself
that's
is
the
good
only
enough.
drawback?
I don't.
Like, you already have to have one.
Yes, that's the only drawback.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it says
is,
if there's a
though-
card that is both red and green in your energy area other than this card, negate this card's energy exhaust skill in all areas.
I just think it's like a bit of a dangerous precedent where it's the first set with dual-colored cards, and we already have some that cheat into play on.
And I get that. Like,
I'm
it is
iffy
dangerous
on
for
this
sure.
card. I don't. It's kind of like when you look at blue yellow Janemba. Like if they had an untap, I don't know if that would go in. And I know that Janemba is different than what you would run this in. But if this was your only energy, then I don't know if that's worth it. But if you could play this with the Gogeta or the Brolys that were out previously, where where they do their arrival, that would be cool. I think that would be something that would be worth it.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
avenues to
Fantastic and red-green Vegeta baby.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues to explore with these new red green cards. The other card
Yeah.
I'm excited for in red green is the Son Goku and Piccolo 2-drop. So this is another card that you can not only play off of Assembling the Squad, but you can also play it off of Familial Bonds because it's a red Saiyan with 1500 or less power, and it's got Alliance red green. Tap a guy. And tap any number of guys, he gains a power. But the exciting part about this card is that if you switch Gohan Youth to Rest, you draw 2 cards and gain crit. So typically, he'll be 15k critical and draw you 2 cards. And
That's so nasty.
there's 2 separate Gohans that, when played, net you a card. One's green and one's red. The red one draws you a card, and the green one searches for a Goku off the top 7. So, like, you're in a spot with this particular strategy where you could turn 1 play a red Gohan, draw a card. Turn 2 play an Assembling the Squad. Play this guy from your deck. Attack with it. Tap the Gohan. 15k critical. Draw 2 cards. And so you've played 2 cards, but you've drawn 3 cards, and you're pressuring with 15k crit. And while that's not really impressive, that's just like generic value,
Yeah, where did you say the Sun Gohan momentary awakening?
That's the green one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
looks at the top 7 to find a
whew, it's
Goku.
gonna be crazy.
There's also the green Goku or Gohan from Clash that, when played, draws a card and can gain critical by paying 2. So that card's
Yeah.
another option. So you have a red and a green 5k Sun Gohan Youth that you can play turn 1 to draw a card, and then turn 2 play this guy to draw 2 more cards and pressure with crit.
It doesn't actually lose you any cards. So this, if you play the Momentary Awakening, that's of course assuming that you don't fizzle on the Surge, but you get that. So you play your card that's -1. You get the Son Goku that's breaking even. You're replacing one for one, and then you send Goku out and you draw one, so you +1. That's crazy. And then you get the critical.
And like this is just like the filler part of the deck that, or like one aspect of a deck that could either be hand control or aggro, or just like a generic value deck with this being an additional red-green engine, like stuff like
Yeah.
that. So there's a lot of potential there as well.
I like how Bandai's like, look, we'll give you these really nice red cards, but you guys have just got to put green in your decks.
Because green wasn't seeing a lot of play.
No
Deal.
play.
I don't think has green seen. Well, I guess Brian did top with his green Chile deck.
Broly's
Like,
green.
Green Broly is about the only real green deck that's actually like meta relevant, besides like off meta Chile.
Yeah. So
Are there any cards y'all are excited for?
I haven't really read any.
honestly, I'm just excited for the format to change. I'm a little
Honestly, I
tired
think
of
this
this
format's
format.
fantastic.
No, I don't think it's
especially
bad.
You're just
I'm very
tired of
I'm
it.
very biased in saying that I hate Victory. Anyone who knows me knows that I rant about Victory Strike more than any sane person should.
Or,
Um,
like, just imagine this format with the bands. I think it would be fantastic.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's not.
the
I'm
last,
excited to see Richmond.
yeah, me too. The last card I wanted to talk about was actually Familial Bonds. This is the fixed Child's Wish, essentially. If your leader card is red, so it doesn't have to be a Shenron leader, choose up to one red Saiyan card from your drop area with an energy cost of 3 or less, and 15,000 power or less, and play it. If you played a card, choose up to 2 Dragon Ball cards from your deck and add them to your hand. So something kind of unique here. Let's say you're playing a red leader, and you just somehow have the Skillless engine in your deck. This can revive the 1-drop Goku, and you go find 2 4-star balls.
Yeah, Skillless is definitely going to be experimented with in set 7 outside of the Son Goku.
Right. If you look at this with the only red Wish leader we have, which is Oolong, and he actually isn't the worst, because he gives a guy 15,000 power, and you draw 3 cards with his ultimate, right? So, like, this gives you a way to speed up Awakening in that deck, just with a generic Wish effect. You can play the red-green Piccolo engine, and the Gohans to draw cards and apply pressure, and your finisher could be Fu very easily. And in that particular deck, like, you can just like give something 15,000 power that's a threat that they have to answer, or maybe has dual attack or something. I'm not exactly sure. And then play the Fu afterwards, and all of a sudden there's all this like massive amounts of power in play that they have to handle. And I think this deck can generate way more advantage than your typical Wish deck, because you're generating advantage from 2 fronts through combat early and through the Wish engine as a whole.
Yeah, no, you just slap that power boost on a freaking vanilla.
So something kind of unique is that like you have the ability to play assembling the squad, right? Bring out the 2-drop Goku Piccolo. You already have a Gohan in play. Let's just say you have 1 Gohan in play. And then you can, like, Familial Bonds for free with your leader skill, put into play a Fearless Pan, Piccolo gets double strike, or the Goku Piccolo gets double strike in 5k, then you attack, gain crit, tap your Gohan, draw 2 cards. And so you're 20k double strike crit without even comboing, and you've drawn cards.
That's gonna be nasty.
So
Like,
what you're telling me is my Fearless Pans are going to be worth more money.
I mean, maybe. This is the kind of card that Ryan and Creed would both love, because this kind of revives that deck strategy that they were playing before.
But you don't even have to mention it reviving anything. All you had to do was say it's red cards that turn side.
Like, this brings back Burst Attack. This brings back the crit 3-drop Goku Ape that gains crit, or that has crit and can KO stuff to attack multiple times. This brings back Fearless Pan. Like, it brings back Red Saiyans, but there's a lot of different Red Saiyans that fit that specific. Like, if we just look at 3-drop Red Saiyan specifically,
I do want to know why Bandai's creating a bunch of one drops in each color that just say when you play this, draw one card. Like
Well, I
there's a
mean, I think
red,
every color should have one of those.
but some are just inherently better, which baffles me. Like
Because there has to be bad cards.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bad cards in this set, but like Supreme Kai of Time, Time Regulator out of this set has blocker when you play this card, draw a card, but the red one is just when you play this card, draw a card. Makes me sad.
Because you have to have filler cards. That's all it.
A card that could bring potential degeneracy with familial bonds is the Determined Super Saiyan Son Goku, the GT guy that becomes a
Mhm.
5
That's
cost.
why everyone's buying up triple flashes.
Yeah. Digging Deep can be brought back with it. Oblivious Rampage Son Goku, the 3-drop red crit ape. Veku, Contents Under Pressure was a card I was exploring. You can bring this card back and either sack it to pick up 2 guys, thus netting card advantage, or you can evolve on top of it with the new 5-drop Gogeta that's coming out.
Yeah.
What else? There's only 3 pages, so there's not that many. A lot of them are new. Impeccable Super Saiyan Kaba, the Tiny Rivals combination, Virtuous Strength, Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, Ability Unleashed. Like, some of these cards have phased out, obviously, but just the sheer utility in just red Saiyans. And,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
these are.
excited to see the first few events when they come out. Like you're saying, there's like you were just saying, there's so much utility that you can take advantage of. I'm excited to see some of the decks people who are like way smarter than me can make.
I think I'm definitely on something that's playing both Broly Demonic Origins and Son Goku and Piccolo Budding Friendship with either familial bonds or assembling the squad, because they're both 2-drops red Saiyans that can be revived.
I'm just gonna play Kid Coup, but I'm gonna switch to red and I'm gonna play the dinosaur. That's gonna be my tech. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the new card I'm gonna play.
Bro, the dinosaur's the best card in set.
And there's actually a pretty unique card here that I didn't realize existed until now. I think it's a starter deck card. No, it's a promo. Okay, so this is probably one of the
What is
TP
it?
promos. Combo Strike Sun Gohan. 2-drop red green. When you attack with it, you can discard a card to combo with a red green card from your from your discard pile. And so it bypasses the combo cost of red green cards because they're all 1 cost, So it essentially attacks for 20k with a combo and turns on all of your arrival effects without spending energy on it. And you can play this guy off of assembling the squad and familial bonds.
That'll be cool. That'll be really cool, actually. This is gonna be such an interesting set. I hope. Like, oh my lord, stuff needs to change.
Yeah, that's a promo. And then there's a Nappa that's also a promo. But this card, it's not all that exciting. It's just a card advantage type of card. When you play it, you can discard a card, look at the top 10 of your deck, choose 2 red or green Raditz or Vegeta cards with cost of 3 or less and add them to your hand. So, like, it +1s and finds pieces for your deck, and it's also a red-green card. But I think the Combo Strike Gohan is very good. But I'm most excited for Demonic Origins Broly and Son Goku and Piccolo Budding Friendship. And there's something to not forget here, that this Broly is a OG Broly and fits into the evolution chain of the other Brolys.
Yeah, I was reading about that on Facebook. It's like a Bandai is playing to all the Broly fanboys, which is good. I like how there's multiple different Broly deck. You know, you have
Right.
the Black Movie Leader, which we saw. I think that topped a prelim, didn't it? Or like won a
No,
prelim with hand control.
it topped Indy.
Yeah, which is crazy awesome. That dude is super innovative with that deck, or whoever made it. And then you can play the pure green old school. You can play the new school. There's just so much. It's crazy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Come to find out, you can slap Chain Attack Zeno and other aggro cards into almost any deck, and they're really...
Hey, it turns out Chain Attack Trunks is a very, very good card.
Yes, which should have been reprinted, right? But here we are.
Honestly, it would do well to have like a reprint of some kind.
It's only in a structure deck. It's like, come on,
No,
Bandai.
let's be real. The Paragus Super Combo is what needs to be reprinted.
I
The thing
agree.
is, it's pretty expensive right now. That and the Whis.
The fact that the
Oof.
dang thing is like $15
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
The fact that the Vegetas, the promo Vegetas for the Toa deck are like, what, 50 right now or something?
At least with
God.
those, we know in like 6 months we'll be playing in like PPG events, and they'll be handing us stacks of them for free.
Yeah. Which will be cool. Should be cool. Did we want to talk about Ohio at all and just kind of our experiences over there?
Bro, my experience was great.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't got much to say. I mean, I played a deck that I was confident in, but things didn't quite line up.
Yeah, I enjoyed the event. There was I'm a little butthurt about the pricing in the open,
But
but
you got your
ultimately I
invite.
did, which I'm glad they cleared up. So now I can go to Orlando and kind of play whatever I feel like playing.
For anyone unaware, Danny got a pity invite.
Shut up. I still got top eight. It's not like I got like a pass down to me.
Yeah, but you were 15th at Swiss, which was no invite.
Ouch. That
But yeah,
hurts.
otherwise, the event as a whole is pretty good. Is there anything y'all wanted to talk about specifically? Because I think we've covered just about everything.
Um, so with Ohio, it definitely seems like probably the, how do I put this? Like, the regional that's probably going to end up meaning the absolute least, which kind of feels bad because there was only one big player there, and that was Jose.
Right. Like, well, there was definitely talented players there, but there wasn't quite as many of, like, the big names that you expect from a bunch of events.
Whereas, like, in Richmond this weekend, they're all going to be there. That's going to be the eventer.
Well, I'm going to be
Yeah.
excited for the results of it, that's for sure.
I'm actually like skipping. I'm pretty sure they're streaming. And if they're streaming, I'm actually skipping a date to watch that stream. And
Danny skipping time with women? What the heck is this?
I'm just actually excited because don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun at Ohio, but I never played a player who I thought just was like outclassed me. Like when I played in Dallas, when I sat across from my top 16 player, he started the game off and I just thought he outclassed me the whole time. I didn't sit across from a single player in Ohio and not think, oh man, I might lose. It was just
Bro,
kind
I
of
sat across
variance.
from Nam and Isaiah and was like, I might.
Yeah, but you're also a pretty intimidating player yourself, so
I don't know about all that, but I was also just like, oh, a yellow Broly leader. This is.
yeah. I think if there had been a tournament in Atlanta, we would also see a lot of the bigger name players go. Like Orlando's probably going to be pretty big too. I'm excited to play in that just to get to play against more unique players that we didn't get to face in Ohio.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this season as a whole. Like, there's not as many events, so hopefully some of these like prime locations will be a little bit bigger, like Richmond and Orlando.
Yeah. What they need to do is fake us out until Nats, and then like 2 days before Nats, ban Victory Strike, and we'll see. We'll see where like all this really skillful players are at. I just hate Victory Strike.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I guess what? That's probably good enough for now. We covered a good few little topics here, and if there's anything y'all think we want us to discuss in the next video or anything like that, just leave some comments below, and we'll catch up with you later.
Bye.
See ya.